On today's episode of The Unwritten Rule, Mizzou football is 24 hours away from its trap game against Vanderbilt. We're going to preview that, talk about what the Tigers need to do to create that dream scenario of being 5-0 headed into that LSU game in a couple weeks. So we'll talk all about the Tigers game against Vandy. We'll do quick hits, and then we have NFL fraud rankings from this last week. So plenty of fun stuff to dive into. A lot of football to fuel the start to your weekend as you get ready for the mid-afternoon Mizzou game. Not a night game this week. Mid-afternoon Mizzou game. So plenty to dive into. We'll get into it. And the Unwritten Rule starts right now.
Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Peyton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to The Unwritten Rule. Today is Friday, September 29th, and Mizzou football is ranked. Mizzou football is flying high, headed into its Week 5 matchup against Vanderbilt. Kenny and Peyton, remember the last time that happened? We talked about it during the SEC tier list. Mizzou at that time, back in 2019, I think we all remember it well. 5-1, if my memory serves. Number 23 lost on the road to a Vanderbilt team that then, continued to, or caused, I guess, a spiral that Mizzou ended that season 6-6. Now again, marching into the construction site this week in a similar position. Let's just start right there. Recording here on a Thursday, obviously, but 2 days out for you guys, a day out for our viewers and listeners. How are we feeling headed into what we've dubbed very much a trap game? We knew Memphis was kind of a trap game being in St. Louis. They overcame that hurdle relatively comfortably. We're going to talk about, especially the injuries. I think it'll be a big issue heading to Vanderbilt. But how are you guys feeling headed into week number 5 and the infamous Vandy road game?
Feeling better, it seems like the injury situation has cooled a bit on Tuesday. I mean, it's felt like just about everybody was on the injury report, even Cook and Luther. They were both listed as questionable, and Drinkwitz says he gives them about everybody that's questionable about a 50-50 chance to play. You can believe that if you want. I personally don't believe that. I think he knows their status really already. And Callum McAndrew, he tweeted that both Cook and Burden were full participants. Drinkwitz said they were full participants on Tiger Talk. Ennis Rakestraw and Drayden Norwood appeared to be full participants, according to Callum McAndrew. So those are very positive signs. Also, Brett Norfleet, we thought maybe his injury was going to be a bit more major. Turns out Drinkwitz expects him to possibly play this weekend. So really good news on the injury front. That should alleviate some of the fear from this game.
We're going to get back to the Mizzou Vandy preview in just a minute. But first, quick word from our sponsor, Bet Online. Football is back, and Bet Online is your number one information source for all your sports wagering and info with all the up-to-minute stats, news, scores, and matchup breakdowns. Get the latest game odds, spreads, and totals from both the NFL and college football right at your fingertips with Bet Online's real-time updates on statistics, news, and odds. From week 1 all the way to the college football playoff and Super Bowl, Bet Online gives you access to the best football promotions and contests available online. We love using their lines for our football Fantastic Four picks. So head to the website today and use your mobile device to get in on the action. Remember, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. And now back to the Mizzou Vandy preview.
Two more that I saw in here, and you guys can maybe talk a little bit more about Mekhi Miller, but Darius Robinson was listed as questionable, and Kai Miller, and we see Callum always know, and I've noted this last year, is that the full injury report comes out Thursday evening, and so we'll maybe get a little bit more on that. But Mekhi Miller, I think he was injured in that last game. I told you guys I didn't get to watch the full thing, but what happened there for him?
Mekhi Miller, I mean, he's just had what did they call it? He had stitches in one of his hands recently. I think it was after the week 1 game, and he's tried to play through it, and he's played pretty poorly. So I think they're just giving him a reset. And then Darius Robinson, nagging calf injury. He kind of re-aggravated it in the St. Louis game. They said they want to get him some rest. This might be the game to do it.
Yeah. I think Peyton did a good update on Miller, and that you guys, that was the first place I was going to go, which I think was natural for all of us. It was the injuries we saw. I think some criticisms, I kind of half joking of the 15-year-old turf or whatever it was that they were playing, that people said they were playing on in St. Louis. Obviously, that's not the sole cause of all these injuries, but that's good to see some positive news. Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll get a quote tweet or something up this evening when we see kind of the full report, but obviously, this team needs everybody to go to get clicking. Otherwise, I think they can struggle against just about everybody. We've already seen it. That in the past with South Dakota a little bit, and even Middle Tennessee to some extent. I want to turn to Vandy briefly because you two have talked about this, especially when we've done the fraud rankings. You guys were both fairly high on Vandy. Peyton, if I remember right, you picked them, I think, to finish above Florida originally in the SEC standings, which, I'm not trying to come for you with that take. It's just something I remember. And I know you've been thoroughly disappointed, especially in Kenny as well. But, there's obviously something that made you, think that. What does this Vandy team have that can hurt Mizzou, and what has not maybe met your expectations so far this year that you're hoping Mizzou can continue to, keep down in order to avoid the upset?
It was more I think Florida is going to be really bad this year take, but I still don't think they're very good. I think that win over Tennessee, until I see otherwise, was completely fake. But Vanderbilt also, I mean, coming into this year, there was so much talent on offense. They have 2 really, really good receivers. Shepard, I think, is honestly among the best in the SEC. AJ Swann flashed a lot of talent last year. He's just been a turnover machine. Vanderbilt's run defense has been just putrid this year. That should be a point of emphasis for Mizzou. You might see it have your dose of the rushing attack today, this Saturday rather. So yeah, Clark Lee. I mean, he had things going in the right direction, but it seems like the progress has been lost this year. I mean, there's really been nothing to hang their hat on. Their 2 wins are they just barely hung on against a bad Hawaii team. Hawaii has still been just terrible this year outside of that game, and Alabama A&M, which FCS. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah, on the offensive side, there's really just only 2 prime targets. You mentioned the 2 wide receivers there, and Will Shepard and Jaden McGowan. Jaden McGowan's a sophomore, and he was incredible last season. I mean, he and Luther Burden were 2 of the best young wide receivers in the SEC. He can do it. You did it on special teams as well, and he looked strong everywhere. On Saturday, though, he didn't pick up a reception. So that's something to keep an eye on, and a guy that really just kind of pops up in that receiving core as well, who only has 12 receptions this year, is London Humphreys, who's a freshman. Big wide receiver. He wears number 83 if you're going to keep an eye out for him. Kind of showing up in those 2 games against UNLV and Wake Forest with over 100 yards in both. But his receptions are going up a little bit. He's looking to get more targets. He has 3 touchdowns this season as well. So those are the 3 prime targets to keep an eye on for this weekend. Of course, it's going to be different without AJ Swann out there. And you talk about the turnovers, 7 interceptions this year, 9 turnovers total. Maybe that's another thing to keep an eye on just for Vanderbilt, is to see if those turnovers might go down without AJ Swann out there. As the interceptions, I mean, you could go through and watch every interception. Maybe some of them don't get blamed on AJ Swann, but maybe the interceptions go down with a different quarterback on the field.
Yeah. Okay. Turning to Mizzou now. I mean, it was, I think Peyton and I talked about it. I think an overall good performance against Memphis. I think we were pretty satisfied with what we got. Forced 2 more turnovers on defense. I know that's a big thing. Offensive line, I mean, I think still doing its job for the most part. Those have been at least the 2 parts of the game that I've probably been the most concerned with, or I could see more out of those parts of Missouri's team. But you know, in thinking of what Vanderbilt can bring, what does Mizzou, what do you guys want to see out of Mizzou this time around? I personally, again, a third thing I'll add, starting off with another explosive play. I mean, we've had back-to-back games now, just 2 bombs by Brady Cook to a pair of young receivers in Luther Burden. And then we saw Marquise Johnson getting on the end of, I think this is the longest touchdown of the year now, 76 yards in that Memphis game. What do you guys want to see, and who maybe, personnel wise, do you want to see step up either side of the ball, special teams, wherever you want to go?
The defense needs to get off the field quickly, like just faster. I mean, they've just given up too many 3rd and 4th down conversions this year. Luckily, they've been starting to force more turnovers. And whether it's Ken Seals or AJ Swann this weekend at quarterback, you would hope they'd be able to maybe force another. Personnel-wise, I'm interested to see how the D-line holds up, especially without Darius Robinson. But really the main thing is the entire defense just gotta miss less tackles. I mean, there were too many slip tackles last week, and that's been the major reason they have not been able to be as effective on 3rd and 4th down as you hope. That's the main thing I'm hoping for. Offense, get Luther Burden the ball. He's the playmaker. We've seen it. He's among the best receivers in the nation. I don't think there's any doubt. So you got to get the ball in the hands of your best playmaker. I expect to see a lot of running in this game, whether it's designed from Brady Cook, although that may be ill-advised, considering we heard this past week that Brady Cook got so badly hurt on that QB draw near the end of the first half. It was originally planned for them to bring Sam Horn out for the second half. Now, Brady Cook probably was like, I'm good, we'll be fine, but you want to see them take less shots on the QB. Brady Cook's got to learn to slide in those instances, but yeah, the biggest thing I'm looking for, defense needs to get off the field on 3rd down. If they do that this week, it should be no problem.
Yeah, looking at that defensive or the offensive side of the ball too, going off what Peyton's saying, I think Cody Schrader, just building off last game, is something that I've read about a couple times, and just seeing the 8.8 average yards per carry against Memphis looked good. 14 carries with 123 yards. That's something just to keep an eye on. I was looking more into what Vanderbilt's defense has been putting up, because I read that the rushing defense isn't all that strong. Yards per play, they're allowing 5.68 yards per play, and that's in the likes of Ball State, Louisiana Tech, and New Mexico. So, I mean, you look at the logo of Vanderbilt, you think about the history that this football team has. It's still, they're still dwindling in very subpar play. And you look at how many yards they're giving up per play. The total yards per game is also not very impressive. So, I mean, this is an opportunity for this offense to fire on all cylinders and show those explosive plays. I liked how you brought that up too, Jack. That was one thing that we wanted to see 2 weeks ago, and they've done it the last 2 games. It's just who's going to get the ball in this explosive play to start this one.
I love it. I love seeing it. It's such a great, like, the deja vu I got when Marquise Johnson caught that on their first drive, just a flashback to last game. Like, it goes back to what I said. It's an SEC type of play. It's like I was so frustrated through the first 2 games that they just look so bottled up, like bottled themselves up in their play calling. So it's just nice to see them unleash it. This team, like, for how much we've praised the passing attack, for how great Luther is, you talked about Cody Schrader, Kenny. He's leading the SEC in rushing yards. Like, this team runs the ball a lot comparatively to their conference opponents. Like, Cody Schrader has those 403 rush yards on 65 carries. Nathaniel Pete, 44 attempts. He's got 186 yards. Still waiting for some more production out of him. But, like, this is a team definitely not afraid to put it on the ground, which I think is helpful right now with how limited Brady is with his own legs. So, I think that's definitely something to turn to. I'm going to look ahead. I'm going to keep doing this, even though I say that I will regret doing this, and I'm going to keep doing it. There was the piece of news I do want to ask, looking ahead, kind of, were you guys annoyed like I was to see, regardless of how this Vanderbilt game goes, that LSU now is an 11 a.m. kick in Columbia, or are you not really surprised at all?
Yes, Jesus, that really was
Okay.
annoying. I thought that should have been a night game. I thought it was ridiculous that it wasn't. I wasn't expecting the mid-afternoon CBS slot. Okay, that would have been primo, like the game of the week, and I wasn't expecting that treatment quite yet from Mizzou. Um, 11 a.m. sucks, man. Like for fans, I get TV wise, it's not a bad spot. It's better than getting the other 3:30 spot. 11 a.m. on ESPN is like the first game of the day that a lot of people are going to watch. But I was really hoping this would have gotten a night game treatment, but it's not really an excuse either way. I mean, it's a sold out game. People will be there. The crowd was great for K-State, and that was at 11 a.m. But it is also annoying for me because I'm going to be in the car like while that game is going on.
Brutal.
Yeah, you look at those two night games as well. The 6 o'clock game on ESPN is Georgia and Kentucky. SEC Network game is Ole Miss and Arkansas. Those are one ranked team against a non-ranked team. Arkansas has had its issues this year. Kentucky's offense isn't meeting the standard that we thought it would, and that's just kind of unfortunate. I mean, Alabama at Texas A&M could be a big game. Alabama rolling in to face Jimbo, and now Max Johnson at quarterback for the rest of the season. Yeah. And that's always going to be a fun game. There could always be an upset at Kyle Field as well for the 2:30. It's good they don't have the 3 o'clock game. That is Florida against Vanderbilt. They're burying that game. That's what it always is. I'm surprised they probably didn't do it with Western Michigan and Mississippi State, which is also an 11 a.m. kick. Overall, it made sense. It was either going to be 11 or 6. That's just probably the 2 time slots, and they ended up giving them the 11. Probably means that College game day isn't going to come to Columbia. And kind of looking at some of the other games that are going on that week, it probably made sense it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, isn't it Red River that week?
Yeah. Red River is that week, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the nail in the coffin. Yeah, okay, so I wasn't sure if I should have been how overly annoyed I should have been, but I'm on Peyton's side on that. I'm a little bit, I think Mizzou fans will feel a little bit slandered. I mean, that's, barring, again, this is all barring disaster here on Saturday, and we'll finish that off. But like this is likely 2 ranked teams. I think it's a more fun matchup to me than Kentucky Georgia, which is the one they put at 6. I get Kentucky's also undefeated, but is that game in Athens too?
Yes, it is in Athens.
Jeez. I don't know.
Of a slot.
Yeah. I just don't get that.
Do you guys want to guess the line on that game? It's not out yet.
Whose line is it anyway?
Bet online.
BetOnline's line.
They don't have the line yet, but we could maybe just save it for later. I'm thinking because I want to know, like, this line might be pretty big. It's going to be. I mean, we can assume Georgia's going to win this one as well.
Here's the thing. I don't think the line will be some crazy large spread, just because Kentucky, because they've played and largely handled their first 4 games, even if they were bad teams they were playing. They grade out pretty well metrics wise, which I know these lines weigh pretty heavily on. So I don't think it'll be big. It'll be double digits, maybe close to 20. Especially because I think there's a non-zero chance. Yes, but here's the thing: it's not going to be
big
like
for SEC.
20. For an SEC game, sure.
What do you
say?
That's not
20? Vanderbilt. That's big.
No, I don't think it's going to be 20. No. Maybe it's around 2 touchdowns, maybe close to 17, in the 14 to 17 range. There's also a non-zero chance Kentucky loses to Florida. I think Kentucky will win because I do think they're better than Florida, and the game is at Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I still think it'll be a sizable line, not like a crazy eye-popping line. And that game is
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the line will be, but yeah, I would guess Peyton's probably right. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to turn to that because that was a scheduling thing that kind of annoyed me. But again, segueing back, you got to focus on the team that's ahead of you. We hope that's what, a coach who has struggled on the road and Eli Drinkwitz is doing. And Kenny, we talked about this before we started. We want to do one thing each to close it out that we're looking at from. We talked about this Vanderbilt team a little bit, but either I'll start with Peyton and then Kenny, and I'll go last. But one thing, Peyton, you're maybe honing in, whether it's something you touched on already, or something else from just this game that fans should keep an eye on?
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing I'm looking for on Vandy is whether it's Swann or Seals, can Mizzou bottle up those two receivers? I mean, Shepard and McGowan, who Kenny mentioned.
Not a fan of McGowan. Not a fan of McGowan.
Kenny mentioned it earlier with Shepard and McGowan. I mean, those two are really dynamic. I think Shepard is an NFL receiver for sure. McGowan is still so young. But they have shown in the past they can be explosive. And with how often Blake Baker likes to blitz, there's going to be times where Cad and Ennis, assuming they play, are left on an island with those two. Can they hold up against them? That is the main thing I'm going to watch. Last year they did largely hold up. That's another thing. Mizzou was so close with Vanderbilt last year. I mean, that game almost got away from them. So I don't think Mizzou is going to overlook this Vanderbilt team. And I think it comes down to, can they bottle up that potentially explosive offense?
You talked about the defense a little bit, talked about the quarterback, talked about wide receiver. I want to talk about something different. Talk about Matthew Hayball, the Vanderbilt punter. This past week, he was the Ray Guy Award punter of the week. And, for good measure, this is a very good punter. During Hawaii, the first week against Hawaii, his long was 71. Next week, long 54, 63, 58, 62. This guy can boot it. He punted 7 times against Kentucky for 352 yards. He's getting inside the 20-yard line at 47% of his punts. And I mean, this guy can pin it. And this is probably something just Eric Link needs to keep his eye on about how to return against this guy or how to let this ball go. But it looks like he can pin inside the 20 and not let it roll into the end zone.
Go to the YouTube right before Kenny just said that to see Peyton is embodying like every Mizzou fan's agony at special teams. That's an important note. I mean, Mizzou's done nothing in the return game. So if you couple that with the fact that they've got a punter who can stick it, it's a little scary.
I wish there was a way we could find a link between the struggles on special teams for Mizzou. That's really, it has been a thing.
You seem to say that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know what the link could be.
I wonder why that could be.
I don't know.
But that's a
nice,
good one,
Kenny.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, special teams. That's why that one Chargers team never made the playoffs. I'm going to turn to a far less probably important factor, but I want to turn everyone's attention to preseason. I brought it up in the little intro I did. This is a stadium, Drink struggled in road environments, and this isn't just any road environment. You guys, they're playing in a construction site here. This stadium is under construction. Their scoreboard's held up by cranes. And, for a first true road test, I mean, I know Vanderbilt's, it's not Death Valley. It's not Tuscaloosa. It's no, widely well-known college football game day atmosphere. But, I mean, playing in a construction site, weird things can happen. I'm just saying Mizzou's got to keep their wits about them on the road in a stadium held up by cranes in the middle of Nashville.
What is your favorite form of construction equipment, and do you think it'll be at this game, Jack?
Oh, that's a great question. I think Mizzou or Vanderbilt could use this to advantage. Just have a guy with like one of those big jackhammers, like that's really loud, just make a lot of noise during a third down. Maybe add to the fandom. I don't know. Blow a wrecking ball right through just work during the game. That's what I would do if I was Vanderbilt.
Honestly, Jack, I mean, that's a good point to bring up. I mean, this is such a weird road environment, and it's the first one of the year. Like, it's important. Right. And we know Drink has had road struggles in the past. So that's a good point, actually. Just don't get weirded out by the environment, no matter how loud or quiet it is and whether there's construction work going on or not. I mean, just keep your focus.
Locked in. Gotta be locked
in. Maybe it's a big day for Logan Reichert, whose nickname was Dump Truck in high school. And if you guys remember correctly, Eli Drinkwitz showed up on a recruiting visit with a dump truck.
Did he really?
Armand, yeah, he did. I think he did that with Armand Membu as well.
There you go. Maybe bring the dump truck to the game and just leave it there. Maybe that'll help them to get their stadium done faster. I mean,
and Eli said before that Logan Reichert's been looking good in practice. He's competing for a spot on the offensive line.
Hey, do we have a Brett?
Freshman.
Do we have a Brett Norfleet update?
Peyton had one.
Did
I miss it?
Yeah, he's probably going to
say it again. Oh, okay, he's back. All right, good. Sorry, I missed that. Mental lapse.
Listen.
Well, but yeah, playing construction site. Don't get weirded out by the environment. Drink. Maybe bring the dump truck. That's my final stance. But yeah, Mizzou Vanderbilt 3:00 kick on the road. First true road test for the Tigers, trying to go 5-0, improve on where they were, and not have a repeat of 2019. We will see what happens with that. Shall we go? Let's move on to quick hits. With that, we'll see what Mizzou can do on Saturday at 3:30. Okay, quick hits time. Kenny, take it away. Jersey of the week. What you got?
Jersey of the week goes out to George Kirby, the starting pitcher for the Seattle Mariners. On Tuesday, during his start against the Houston Astros, foul ball went into the stands. Mariners fan wearing a City Connect Jared Kelenic jersey heaved the ball back into play while George Kirby was on the mound. The ball catches George Kirby on the stomach of his jersey, and he looks around confused. What just happened? And then they pan over to the section where the ball came from. Kid's getting escorted out. Mom turns around, just chewing him out. I don't know if it's mom or just motherly figure, just chewing him out over it. Very unfortunate for that guy. He's probably not going back to Safeco for a little bit. But shout out George Kirby for being a champ, laughing it off.
How often does that ever happen, where they throw the ball back at a player?
Not really ever.
There was this one time that this little kid, the dad handed him the home run ball and he just chucked it back. I think he had no idea. Like there's like little things like that where little kids don't comprehend what they're doing.
But that had some intent behind it.
Yeah, that guy was just a jerk.
I like one of our friends, I think it was our friend of the show, Chase Madison, who just said, I don't know, maybe the Mariners should look at that guy. He got some velocity on that throwback. Maybe bring him in.
Though.
Yeah. Outfielder.
Henry Rowengartner.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the rookie of the year. That's all he was.
Fair enough. All right, Peyton.
All right. My jersey of the week. This is kind of a crazy one. So this is a tweet from Jazz Reef Football, which, by the way, this account sucks. Do not follow these aggregate accounts, please. But he tweeted, "This is taking it way too far. New Mexico State QB Diego Pavia was allegedly caught peeing on their rival New Mexico's logo inside their practice facility." There was a clip of a news report. It does appear to show Diego Pavia, in fact, relieving himself upon New Mexico's logo in their practice facility. As far as I can tell, nothing else has come out about this. Like I figured the next thing I'd have seen about this was, Diego Pavia suspended. But I looked it up. Still nothing really. Jerry Kill, New Mexico State's head coach. I haven't seen anything from him on it. It's quite the thing. I'm interested in what Kenny thinks of this because I know. I know he is a big rivalry proponent.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm glad you said something over this JPA football guy. He's kind of square. These guys want to be aggregate accounts, and then they give their own opinions, and everyone's just like, just shut up, dude. Like what you're saying just does not matter. You're trying to be like a white knight, and trying to be like a superhero and defend people. It's just weird. I'm trying to find
fake news.
There was a game last year where Diego Pavia was like unstoppable, and he was up for the Manning Award quarterback of the week.
I think it was when they played Valparaiso.
It was the same week that Brady Cook was up for it last season, because I remember looking at it and looking at who was going to win that week, and I'm trying to find it. But he had 190. Oh, there it is. 323 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown against Valparaiso.
Can you look at the attempts? That's the craziest part.
It has 9 for 13.
Yeah, all of that on 9 passes. On 9.
Really threw 9. How many yards? 300, you said?
323.
Oh my God!
He's just dotting up that Valpo secondary. But,
you probably didn't play the whole game either.
People's practice fields, by the way. You probably shouldn't do that. It seems like
maybe that's what we have to look into. Like, did he pee on Valpo's logo before he went out and did that? I mean, whatever works. I'm just kidding.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah. This feels like an incident. I know Kenny and Peyton and a lot of our other friends. We play and for those who watch who have played the game Retro Bowl, they have a Retro Bowl college now, and this feels like a thing that would come up in like before the game, like incident report. Your quarterback is being reamed by the media for peeing on the other team's logo, and you can choose to either discipline him or ignore the incident. Seems like New Mexico State's ignored the incident, but yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, don't do that. Probably.
Also, not sure why his friend posted this anywhere. I'm
Yeah,
not sure what
that's
he
a
was
good
thinking,
point.
but yeah, that was just a weird situation.
Not much of a friend. All right, my jersey of the week. I'm giving it to Kansas City Royals first baseman Vinny Pasquantino, who I know nothing about. Kenny told me before we cut to quick hits that he's injured for the whole year. But he plays first baseman for the Royals. The Royals were giving away an autographed ball signed by him, and you had to reply. They said, reply with your favorite Vinny GIF or photo for a chance to win this signed Pasquantino baseball. Vinny Pasquantino's dad, Dennis, decided to reply with a photo of young Vinny. He's like, it's clearly him at like a youth baseball game. It looks like it's Swift Creek on the jersey, drinking a Capri Sun, holding, looks like, I don't know, a Rice Krispie treat or something. Clearly just, came off of a tough youth game. So he replied with that. Vinny ended up quote tweeting him and said, "Dad, WTF." So I don't know who won the giveaway, but I kind of hope it was Dennis. I thought that was pretty funny.
He had a second tweet where he said, "You're literally on a cruise. Go enjoy it. Get off your phone." He ratioed his dad. He got 12,000 likes on it.
There you go. Bonus ratio of the week. But yeah, I just thought that was pretty good. Shout out to Dennis. All Dennis's. All right, Kenny.
You guys know it. We're bringing it back again. Every Friday show, we got Guess That College. This is a fun one this week. I'll tell you where I got the idea once it's over. But you need you guys to put those hands up. Peyton's already on it. Jack, put them up.
All right, good. The roof. Go to the
raising the roof. All right, first one for this week's Guess That College is former Dodgers pitcher Sandy Koufax.
I do know who that is. I'm not that much of a baseball casual, but I don't know where he went to college.
Our good friend Josh Wolf loves Sandy Koufax. That's his favorite baseball player of all time.
Yeah.
I feel like this could be a Northeast school. I'm not sure really. So I'll need another.
Okay, next one. Former Jacksonville Jaguars head coach, Ohio State Buckeyes head coach, Florida head coach, Utah head coach, Urban Meyer.
Okay. I have a general idea, I think.
I'm on your wave that it's a Northeast school. Up
I was hoping you said
low-key.
Doug Marrone when you said former Jaguars head coach, because I would have buzzed in because he went to Syracuse, but I need another.
God,
Doug Marrone also
he said it in the
Syracuse.
swamp.
Exactly, yeah. He was called St. Doug.
Urban definitely said where he went to college in that Swamp Kings doc. I don't know.
Recall if he did or not.
All right.
I think he did.
Next one,
but I don't
third
remember
player, former Texans and Eagles linebacker. Now works for the Eagles too. Connor Barwin.
Nope. Need another one.
Yeah, I do know who that is, but no.
I think of
don't know.
Connor Barwin as a Ram, but
Yeah, also as a Ram. Last one here. This one could maybe give it for Jack. NBA Hall of Famer, Basketball Hall of Famer, Oscar Robertson.
the Big O.
Oh my God.
Okay, well that throws my guess out the window
This
because
is-
there's no way Oscar Robinson went to Bowling Green.
Oh man, I don't remember where OR went to college. Oh, not that. So I say remember. I didn't see him play. I mean, I don't know where he went to college. I was not alive.
Dang, this is 2 weeks in a row. Neither of us are gonna get it.
I'm between somewhere in the Northeast or like somewhere like Wyoming type, like Montana area, somewhere up there. Because I remember Urban Meyer being like, I was raised like very disciplined. I don't know. Because it could be anywhere.
You guys have any guesses?
Could you give us an additional hint, perhaps, since we don't know? Or
Maybe
maybe
another
another player? Yeah.
Here's some pretty easy ones. I mean, I can give one right off the bat, or I could go Kevin Youkilis.
The Greek Freak of Walk.
Not Greek Freak of Walk.
Greek God of Walk.
Hey, be careful how you use that.
All right, Jason Kelsey.
Oh, ding.
Okay, say it.
Didn't they both go to Cincinnati?
They both went to Cincinnati, and
Oh,
that's where I got
yeah.
it from because I watched the Kelsey documentary.
I did not know any of the original 4 players went to Cincinnati.
Oscar Robertson
I
went to
can't even
Cincinnati. Huh.
Picture them.
Sandy
Now that-
Koufax and Oscar Robertson are the 2 photos when you look up Cincinnati sports alumni.
Oh,
Wow. I did not know
good
that.
for OR. Bucks legend. I think I did remember Urban Meyer saying that he went there now that you say that in the Swamp Kings. That's why I was like, that triggered something. I was like, oh. But it was not in either of the regions I thought it was. So also not
What
that
were you
close.
thinking, Peyton, before that? What would have been your guess?
I was like zeroed in on Bowling Green until Oscar Robertson.
Same state, right?
Bowling
Ohio.
Green is in Kentucky. Oh, I thought.
Oh.
Bowling
Oh,
Green-
that's right. That's right. Cincinnati's basically in Kentucky.
that's true.
South enough.
There's a
All right, good
Bowling
one.
Green, Kentucky, but it's not where Bowling Green is.
Is
Oh,
Bowling
I
Green
figured
is
that-
it in Indiana or Ohio?
It's in Ohio. It's in Bowling Green,
No,
Ohio.
It is in
but-
Ohio. Okay. All right.
But
There is a
there is
lot
a
of
city
Bowling
called Bowling
Greens.
Green.
Yeah. A lot of Bowling Greens. All right.
Okay.
Nice one, Kenny.
Unwritten's
what do we got?
Fantastic Four picks are now up. We can look at the standings right now. Jack, you are 6-4-2. I am 8-2-2, and Peyton is in second place at 7-3-2. Looking at week 4 picks now. We start off in London. Falcons versus
yeah.
Jaguars, and we're all in consensus here. Jaguars -3. The Jags are 4-5 playing in London. They played in London the most of any NFL team.
Second
But
home.
this could be a big bounce back week after losing to the Texans in week 3.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. Stay tuned for the fraud rankings. Yeah, I just kind of didn't want to bet. I bet the Falcons. I think we had the Falcons last week, and I was like, oh, maybe they're frisky, and then they lost. So I'm not backing them this week, especially when Jacksonville's playing in their future home of London.
Yeah, no, can't bet against the Jags in London.
They're gonna win and have some biscuits. Next
game, this is the first time we're doing an over-under on the Fantastic Four. We got Dolphins versus Bills in Buffalo. Over-under is set at 53.5. We're all taking the over here. We know what the Dolphins did last week with the 70 points. Maybe they've ran out of points, though. That may be something to think about. They could have hit this over-under with what they did last week. Bills like to score too. We're getting into some better football for both teams. We all got the over.
I just hope this is kind of an instant classic. Like I hope the Miami scoring just doesn't stop. And I mean the Bills are the Bills.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, third game on the docket. Buccaneers versus Saints. Saints are favored by 3 in New Orleans. I don't think you guys realize who's at quarterback for the Saints this weekend.
No, I know exactly.
I can't
who's at
bet
quarterback.
against Jameis
Yeah.
Winston against his former team. I'm the only one here that has the Saints -3. You guys both have Bucks +3.
I'm rocking with Baylor. All right, I'm off post
Baylor?
LASIK Jameis. I tried to get on the wagon for post LASIK Jameis back in 2021. Didn't work. I'm off it. I'm off it now. Okay, Baker is gonna do his dance and he's gonna win the football game.
Yeah, Baylor Mayfield is going to really win this football game.
I said Baker.
Yeah. No, you said,
said
Baylor,
Baylor.
first. You did.
Nope.
Yep.
I guess
Wrong.
we'll let the tape do the talking.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be
Topic.
good then.
Fourth game on the docket. Patriots versus Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 6.5. We got a clean sweep. The team of the United States of America, the Dallas Cowboys, got the clean sweep.
I
What are you
really
guys
want to
thinking?
flip on this. They're not playing this game at the fake Lighthouse Stadium, but I don't know. The Cowboys, again, stay tuned for the fraud rankings, but I want to flip on it. I have a feeling this is just going to be a weird game for some reason, but I think the Cowboys will do the job.
They need a bounce back. I mean, after
Get right
getting
game.
we'll talk about what happened against the Cardinals.
They got
but
Josh Dobbs to
one of my favorite parts about that game is everywhere on ESPN, every evaluators pointing out that there were a lot of issues with the Cowboys through the first 2 weeks. The Cowboys who blew out the Giants 40-0, and the Cowboys who blew out the Jets 30-10. So I mean, there probably were weaknesses that we didn't see, points of regression, and we saw it against Josh Dobbs, who runs like he has shoes on, like he's a dog with shoes on, and that's
runs
he play.
who runs like he has shoes on.
A dog that has
Certainly.
shoes
No,
on.
I know what you're getting at.
And
That was a
funny.
tweet somewhere.
It was a tweet, and
It was
I
a
agree
tweet.
with it.
No,
17 for
I agree.
21. Shout out Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, dude. Josh Dobbs, very smart. Chemical
Who
engineering
doesn't-
or whatever.
They didn't have his jersey at the stadium. They went to go make his own jersey. He couldn't do it.
Damn.
Oh, that's sad.
Very sad.
But no,
All right.
I'm,
Yeah, we'll see. Go ahead.
I'm going with a bounce back as well. I don't believe in you, Matt Jones. I'm sorry. I don't believe in your capacity to be anyone other than Zach Wilson. If the Cowboys lose this game, it's going to be kind of hilarious, though. So we'll see.
If the Cowboys lose this game, Trey Lance?
He's
Oh,
not even the second quarterback.
I
He's
know,
not?
but that'll be a talking point. No, Cooper Rush is.
Cooper Rush
Oh,
is the
yeah,
primary
that's right.
backup.
That's right. Oh, Cooper Rush? I mean, he came in and had some good games when occasionally.
Central Michigan
Ben-
zone.
Ben DiNucci? Yeah, we'll see. Patriots aren't at their no fake lighthouse. They're losing. All right, next.
I like no cap, and he's the main bird.
Sean Eastman.
My Sean East main bird of the week goes to Adam Wainwright. 3 weeks in a row. His pitching career is over. Got the 200th win this past week, and he called it quits. He said he gave everything he got in his last start. He finishes with a 3.53 ERA in 478 games in his MLB career. What's on the docket for this weekend? I'm hoping some at-bats. The guy said that he wants to get back in the batter's box. He hasn't hit since 2021. He played in the National League his entire career. He knows how to go up to the plate. Maybe put him at the DH spot in the final game of the season on Sunday. You'll know by then, by the time you're listening to this, if he's going to hit or not. He's still in the active roster. They're not taking him off. Maybe this is an opportunity to put him out there, give him some at-bats, get the wood back in his hands. Well, salute to you, Mr. Adam Wainwright, on a fantastic career that you finished with minus 2.1 WAR in your final year just to get that 200th win.
If
Once
I
again-
were a pitcher and saw Adam Wainwright walking into the box, he's getting the 3 hardest fastballs I've ever thrown in my life right by him.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a joke. We're not taking this seriously. This is my livelihood on the line. See ya, Adam Wainwright.
The best thing is that they're playing the Reds this weekend, who are still trying to compete for that last wild card spot. And they're going to be taking this stuff seriously.
Yeah.
Maybe if the Reds are out of contention by Sunday and they have nothing to play for, they'll be okay facing Adam Wainwright. Maybe throw him some ephuses, just toss in some curves.
Just some softballs. Yeah. Glad you can stop finally using him for content. I'm just kidding.
For likes.
Yeah, for clicks.
Forever.
We all
Um,
know what makes people listen to this show is Adam Wainwright.
Yeah. My main bird of the week is the Canada Warbler. You may be wondering why on earth I picked the Canada Warbler. That's because, guys, the remnants of Hurricane Lee blew several North American bird species off their migratory course, and they have now shown up in the western shores of Great Britain and Ireland. This has gotten the British and Irish bird watching communities in just a frenzy. I mean, lots of warblers and vireos have been blown over there. This comes from the New York Times, by the way. This is a story in the New York Times about it. And the first recorded sighting of a Canada warbler in Britain happened because of this. So the Canada Warbler, that is my main bird of the week. If you guys have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them.
I need to look at what a Canada Warbler looks like. It's such a funny name. I didn't know how to spell warbler. I spelled it correctly. I'm not very good at spelling, and I spelled it correctly. Then looked it up, and I was right. It's a cool looking bird. It kind of looks like
Actually,
those
is
old,
kind of a cool looking
looks
bird.
like those old Oregon uniforms with the gray, and they would wear like the neon yellowish green.
Yeah. You're
Canada
not
Warbler.
wrong. You're not wrong, honestly.
Warblers.
I'll put a picture of it in the YouTube for
If
for
you can
viewers to
find,
see.
I'm gonna try to find it while you look up yours. I'm gonna try to find that.
Yeah, good segue. Speaking of Oregon uniforms, because my main bird of the week is Oregon football, specifically the Oregon football media team, who did their Game 4. They called it cinematic recap, mini movie, whatever you want to name it. And they went all in. They doubled down against the stuff we saw it on Saturday with Colorado, all the stuff that came out with Dan Lanning, their coach. And, by the way, for any viewers who were wondering, we don't do this show for clicks. We do this for wins. All right. Just like Dan Lanning doesn't play football for clicks. I'm kidding, of course, but yeah, he did have that in his speech. And this Oregon football video, it's about 6 minutes long, recaps their game, showed clips of Colorado, like running on midfield, the one guy who was mic'd up and saying that they were soft, that they looked so small. Of course, Oregon and Dan Lanning went on to destroy Colorado. I do understand the irony in all of this of a team that I think for so long was looked at as all kind of sauce, no results, looked really good, had all this media hype, had this Nike deal, wears a different uniform every game. And yeah, they're kind of milking that they just played and destroyed Colorado for clicks, even though that's not what they say they're about. I still think it's awesome. You might as well lean into it. I mean, I don't think Dan Lanning has any disrespect for Dion, but I think he was smart to turn all the attention on Colorado onto his own team and use it as fuel to get a dub. So I just thought this was pretty cool. I'm also just a sucker for a great hyper cinematic sports video.
Yeah, Mizzou's been doing those too, and they're pretty good. But
They're
yeah,
cool.
I'm with you there. I think Dan Lanning is doing just people need to cool it a little on Dan Lanning. I think he was just doing what any coach would do. It is what it is. I still think Colorado will be a solid team. They still definitely, I would be surprised if they didn't make a bowl game. And I think they're headed in the right direction, but they were outmatched against Oregon. And that was very clear very quickly. Dan Lanning had them ready to play. He wanted to send a message like, hey, look at us too.
Shout out Dan Lanning. Peyton knows him well, actually. He coached at Peyton's high school in Kansas City. He's a KC guy. That's where he gets the mentality from. We like those KC guys. It's our favorite city in Missouri, outside of Columbia. Well, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I love KC.
It's pretty cool. Where Dan Lanning also lived.
Given
William Woods legend Dan Lanning. Hoot hoot. Go Owls. Shout out William Woods.
He coached at William Woods?
Yes. No, he got his.
No, it was William Jewell.
No. I thought the same thing. He coached at William Jewell. He got his master's degree at William Woods. He didn't actually coach there, but he did go. He did attend the school. I got confused too, but I
William Woods is the Owls and William Jewell is the Cardinals. This dude's a big bird guy.
William Woods' basketball gym is very interesting. The bleachers aren't like actual bleachers. It's just like big padded like steps that everyone sits on. Fun fact for you guys.
Those are football fans if I've ever seen one. Shout out his wife as well. She beat cancer. So we love some Warriors in the house.
Nice.
On the football field and, just at home. So
yeah,
shout
we're
out
almost in October.
Yeah.
For cancer awareness. There you go. All right. Best things we learned. Peyton.
Best thing I learned this week. New Mizzou catcher Jedier Hernandez, who we've talked about on this show. He's a transfer from Seton Hall. People have been raving about his defense, and I guess it's pretty fitting because as I found out over the weekend, Hernandez is a cousin of the catching Molina brothers, including Yadier Molina. This is a tweet from Joe Healy, D1. It's quote tweeting T.R. Robertson, who of course is like the premier Mizzou baseball fan on Twitter. And he was the one that broke it to me, basically, that Yadier Molina and Jedier Hernandez are cousins. And Kenny brought up a good point, too. Jedier Hernandez wears the Molina catching gear. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I remember we were when he officially announced he was coming to Mizzou this past summer. I was looking at the photos. I'm like, he's wearing Yadi's catching gear, same color, same design, the old Rawlings one with the gold on the front, gold plate. I was like, this guy, he looks just he has the stuff, and I think he went by Yadi as well. That's his nickname, just like his cousin.
I think I made a TikTok about that because I remember that vividly too, because that is pretty cool. So yeah, good fact. Kenny, what'd you learn?
Best thing I learned this week is that Super Bowl legend, Patriots legend. You listening to this, Jack? Malcolm Butler now works at my high school in Houston, Texas. He's the defensive backs coach for the St. Thomas Eagles. Congrats to him on the new position, looking like to start his coaching career on the right foot. And something cool to mention here is that the old offensive coordinator at my high school now works for the Texans. So you can move up anywhere and
pipeline.
There you go.
Yeah. Congrats, whatever. I wish him the best. It's not his fault that he gave me pain. It was Pete Carroll's. The ironic part of this, Kenny, is you texted me that while I was watching. The Seahawks are like doing a couple part like YouTube doc thing about their 2013 or 2014 Super Bowl victory, and I was watching that when you texted that to me. So that was a very humbling moment while I was like reliving all of those great memories. But yeah, congrats to him. I won't hold no resentment. That was what, 10 years ago almost now. 9 years ago.
To think.
That's
Super
isn't that wild?
Yeah.
That's I was like, that's why the Seahawks are doing that documentary, because their Super Bowl victory was 10 years ago. And it's like,
I'm
we're
kind of
old,
mad.
guys.
Go ahead.
Why? No, why are you mad?
Because they don't mention that. So Gerard Johnson, who's now the quarterback's coach for the Texans, he's been around. He's played in the NFL. He went to Texas A&M. They don't even mention on his Wikipedia page that he coached at my high school. If I knew the years, I'd put it on here. But they just have him working for the the San Francisco 49ers, Indianapolis Colts again, Vikings, and now the Texans.
And that sucks.
Yeah,
Dan Lanning, the first thing on his Wikipedia is that he was a coach at
The DC.
Park Hill South.
Yeah.
My high schools had no famous coaches, not even close. But congrats to Malcolm Butler. My best thing I learned this week, I think this was going to be pretty obvious for anyone who listens to this show that knows where I'm from, because the best thing I learned this week involves Damian Lillard. He was traded. Obviously, that's just a big deal in general. But he got traded in pretty shocking fashion to my team, the Milwaukee Bucks. So I was very, very excited yesterday, or on Wednesday, rather, when that news dropped. Still can't really believe it. It was, they kind of started to be in the rumor mill for him a little bit, but then the trade just kind of dropped out of nowhere. Is a 3-team deal for everyone that saw. DeAndre Ayton's a Blazer, Yusuf Nurkic is a son. But I'm just so excited. Like, this was a move the Bucks had to make because of, they kind of wanted to appease Giannis, bring a superstar in. They got a chance to do it and capitalize on it for not a big price. I am very sad Drew Holiday's gone. I loved Drew Holiday. Got his jersey last year. He said he was a Buck for life. And if he gets traded to a fellow Eastern Conference contender, he will be out for blood, and that will be terrifying. But overall, I mean, I'm just hyped, guys. Like, Bucks can now, compete for titles for the next couple of years. It's one of the scariest duos in the league. And also Jimmy Butler is a loser because he posted a video saying the Bucks need to be looked in for tampering, which is just loser behavior. Tyler Hero also quote tweeted that and said facts. Tyler Hero is the one who is the reason Damian Lillard's not in Miami right now. So suck it, losers. I'll go full homer. I don't care. That was loser behavior. But welcome, Dame. I'm hyped.
I have 2 tweets to mention here. Damian Lillard was asked maybe 2 years ago. They said, please come to Milwaukee. And he quote tweeted, no. Maybe he doesn't want to be there. Second one, Damian Lillard's nickname. What is it?
Dame
Dalla?
Dame time. What is Giannis's
Dame Dalla?
Because that is his nickname. Dame time is just like what happens when.
What is Giannis's nickname?
The Greek Freak.
Freak time.
Freak time.
That's all I gotta say. It was another tweet I saw. It was very good. If I knew the person's tweet, I'd give him credit. But shout out.
I saw my favorite is the Adam Silver get ready to learn cheese, buddy. That was my favorite one. Also, this reminds me, and I'm gonna pitch this to you guys live instead of off air, like I was gonna. I was wondering, we got NBA starting in like a month. If I could do a quiz with you guys where I name players who have made moves, like not big. Stop shaking your head. Stop it. No. I'm just going to name players, and you have to name what new team they're on. I won't make it super obvious, but I won't make it super hard.
Who he play for?
Yeah, kind of like who he play for.
That guy
like
plays
people
for
who've
who?
moved. Yeah, like people who've moved this offseason that you maybe have forgotten.
Who does this
long
play for? Yes, I would do it. Sure.
I'll play that.
All right, I'll come up with a list. We'll do that before the NBA season. Also, shout out Bleacher Report for being dumb. They tweeted a photo of Dame and Giannis, photoshopped with the Milwaukee skyline behind it. It's not the Milwaukee skyline. It's actually Calgary. So just be better.
Well,
that's all I'm going to say.
Suburbs don't get skylines. So
shut up, Peyton. Title town.
Ratio of the week.
Yeah, ratio.
You got something?
Go ahead.
No,
I'll
you
be
guys-
done.
are you mad? Are you still mad about this? You still
No,
mad about the skyline?
no. I'm mad about the suburb thing. The only other thing I was gonna say is like, in terms of Wisconsin sports, this is like the biggest deal in Wisconsin sports history, like ever. So
It's
this is that
interesting
like
You have Christian
that we're
Yelich.
on a
no, this is far
Mizzou-
bigger than Christian Yelich.
Yeah,
Don't
it is.
even.
Oh, how many
Yeah.
MVPs does Damian Lillard have? 0. How many does Christian
Zero.
Yelich have? 1.
But like, no,
Oh,
the,
wait,
the
no.
whole thing
Oh,
is it's
didn't he
like,
win
you know,
two?
he was
I thought Yelich,
Yelich
won
only
two.
has 1 MVP.
Yelich only has one. It's just one.
What I was gonna say, I find it interesting. We're on a Mizzou sports podcast. You are wearing a Wisconsin polo.
No comment.
Anyways, what's the ratio?
It's cold today.
Ratio
What's
of
the
the
ratio?
week. Shout out Luther Burden fan page at Luther for Heisman on X. This is a great sequence here. If you guys didn't see, SEC Shorts did a full 3.5 minute video on Missouri and about their shot going to the playoff this year. It was kind of funny. I didn't really have an issue with it other than they called Brady Cook Connor Cook, which is the weirdest part. Luther Burden fan page replied, not funny, plus ratio, plus Connor Cook is not a real person, plus this is extremely cringy. He got 117 likes. Some guy named Justin Goss, kind of a weird last name. What will be funny is when OU flips Mary, when you guys go on a 5-game losing streak, he got 5 replies and 1 like. One of those replies was from Luther Burden fan page. What will be funny is when Stone flips to Mizzou, LOL, 48 likes to just 1 like. Shout out Luther Burden fan page. They're a lot of fun on Twitter.
Okay, my one question
X.
about this guy, about this. Do you guys know the context behind this David Stone thing?
I actually don't. I was gonna ask, and I
Okay.
didn't know if I was dumb for not knowing.
So David Stone, of course, 5-star, who is a D lineman that's committed to Oklahoma. The joke this past week, because OU fans just love to say, "Oh, Nwaneri's gonna flip to Mizzou," and it to the point of annoyance. Mizzou, just a few Mizzou fans on X, just decided, let's just pretend David Stone is about to flip to Mizzou. And they started to literally just tweet, the news I just heard about David Stone. And then just a few people would tweet eyeball emojis. And it was so fun. It got out of hand to the point where aggregate accounts on CFB were just tweeting eyeballs Mizzou. And like, I know there was like a Power Mizzou thread about it. I mean, it was like out of hand. And I mean, Show Me Zoo on Twitter, who's like one of the big Mizzou accounts, just tweeted, make sure to check in on at Parker Thorne, not Thune, but Thorne, for the latest update on David Stone to Mizzou. So yeah, it was just a big giant troll, and it really caught fire. So well done by all of them. But that was the context behind this.
Gotcha. That is hilarious. Mizzou fans are pretty great most of the time on X. I've no like they're just pretty funny. Good trolls.
I agree.
Go ahead, Kenny. Do you have something?
David Stone does have an offer from Missouri. I think Drinkwitz should jump in on this one.
Should we add
Things
fuel to the
like it
fire?
hurt.
You heard it here first. David Stone. Eyeball emoji.
Tiger?
Tiger? Huh? Should I put him in should I do a Clutch Points thumbnail for the YouTube and just put his like giant like face with a bunch of question marks about it?
And then like a Mizzou logo.
Yeah, Mizzou logo.
I know these kids sometimes will name search themselves, maybe not. I mean, David Stone is a 5-star. He's a big deal. There's gonna be a lot of people writing about him. I just wonder if he knows about this and he's name searching himself. He's like, why are Mizzou fans talking about me? I never gave Mizzou a thought. My 2 schools were Oklahoma and Miami. Did I click the wrong M school? I kind of feel bad for the guy if he does have to deal with that, but I mean, no one's making fun of him. They're just making fun of Oklahoma fans. Yeah.
What would be
shout out?
What would be the best part of this is Drinkwitz gets word of this and he's like, oh, maybe I'll just try really hard to recruit him. Fans seem to like him, and then it cycles all the way back and he actually ends up committing.
He gets him in one area.
Yeah, just a huge absolute spin zone of recruiting prowess just because of a troll. That's pretty good. I gotta be honest. Also, this video, I did not like it at all. I didn't think it was very funny.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not an SEC Shorts guy. Really, I'm not into those videos. So
just personally, I don't know. It is what it is. But good they're getting a little bit of attention. I mean, I don't know. That is what it is. And yeah. I'm sorry. So who did they call him? Connor Cook?
Connor
They
Cook.
called him Connor Cook, I guess. I didn't watch the video.
Was there a guy named Connor
Yes.
Cook who played? Yeah, okay.
Michigan
What?
State.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Because he
It
was
kinda looks
was
like
he a
him.
quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay.
Played for the
yeah.
Raiders.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
Mizzou
mistaken, he
also-
played in a playoff game for the Raiders.
Did Mizzou have a guy named Connor Cook?
He did. No, they had a guy named Connor Wood and Case Cook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm just
Both
combining
of
those.
I'm
them
not
were
sure
really, really good.
If
No, I
SEC
know
shorts
they
knows
weren't. I
who
know
they
neither
are.
of them were good. But okay, I just wanted to make sure I was confused. All right. Yeah, shout out Luther Burden fan page. Shout out to all the great Mizzou accounts. They all interact with our stuff on Twitter and we appreciate that. So shout out. All right, we'll segue. We will finish the show with fraud. Fraud rankings NFL week 3. All right, we're gonna finish the show. It's Friday's show, which means we have an NFL week to recap. And the only way we know how to do that is, of course, with our fraud. Rankings. Cody, I'm wearing the glasses. Take it away.
Disclaimer real quick. I did say last week, week 2 is always the hardest week to call frauds. Week 3 is even harder. I'll say that. Some teams have 2 wins. Some teams have 2 losses. Some teams have 3 wins. Some teams have 3 losses. We're going to start it off with the Tennessee Titans. Big loss to the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson knows him well. Doing the little waddle. Doing the Deshaun Watson.
He threw a ball backwards in this
He
game.
threw a ball backwards. 2 touchdowns for Deshaun Watson. Titans only scored 3 points. They are now 1-2.
Bruh.
Fraud.
Fraud.
He's looking for the light.
What's he looking at?
Fraud.
Fraud sneeze. Fraud sneeze.
Fraud.
Fraud. Titans are so bad they made him sick.
They made me sick. We're looking at the Jaguars. Now, we mentioned this a little bit earlier. The Jaguars were staying in the AFC South.
is full
What's
of
going
fraud.
on
Jaguar
in Jacksonville? The Jaguars losing to the Houston Texans. Are you a Stroud boy? I'm a Stroud boy. We love Stroud on this podcast.
And
We
now
love
the
Houston
Jags are
Texans.
going on. Jaguars going on to London. They bounce back in
Mississippi.
London. Gonna eat their biscuits. Fraud.
Fraud. Second place this week. We're going to Atlanta. The Atlanta Falcons, who looked good to start the year. 2 good wins. They said, don't doubt them. Don't count them out. You know who counted them out? The Detroit Lions. The Lions, 20-6. Detroit. Fraud. Atlanta, never going to win another game this season. Number 2. The battle of Baltimore. The Baltimore Colts rolling into their old stomping grounds, taking on the depressed poets of the now Baltimore. Gardner Minshew, I must ask you a question. Is Lamar Jackson good at football? No, he's not because he didn't score a touchdown. Fraud. 22-19 Colts. And in first place, the fraud champions of the week. Number 1 in the fraud rankings. We know this already. It's them boys. The Cowboys, America's team. What happened in Arizona?
Frauds.
America
Cowboys.
frauds.
They wanted to be a good team last year. They couldn't get to Arizona to win the Super Bowl. They can't win in Arizona this year. They are the frauds of the week.
Josh Dobbs. He runs like he's got shoes on. Fraud.
A dog with shoes on.
How about them cow frauds? Stephen A. Smith laughing. Nice. Good fraud rankings. That's week 3. We'll be back with week 4, and we will be back on Monday. We'll have a little show Saturday, obviously, as we've done all season with the Mizzou recap. Mizzou Vanderbilt, 3:30. We'll hop on to talk a little bit about that, and then everyone can tune in Monday. Hope everyone has a fun and safe weekend. This has been the Unwritten Rule presented by Bet Online, and we will see everybody on Monday.